Hello, hello. Let me tell you, Facebook is always changing. Okay. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. Hello, hello. I'm so sorry we're still starting 4 or 5 minutes late. We were supposed to be prompt at 8:30, but there are some changes going on with Facebook. I hope everybody's doing well. If you don't know me, I'm the group administrator for special needs supermoms. My name is Imari Ventura. I'm a state licensed speech language pathologist. I'm also an educational administrator, and I am your special needs parent coach. So I hope everybody's doing well today. It is Thursday, March 13th. We are just getting through, right? We are almost at the end of the first quarter of 2025 and in the middle of March. Um, Great. I am here in the Northeast. I service children in New York, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. So, at any time, if you feel like you want to consult with me or come under contract for therapy, you have to be in one of those states. Okay? So today we have a topic that is very provocative. There are a lot of schools of thoughts about this. There are many different professionals who have different and varying opinions about stimming for kids who are on the spectrum. And so the title of today's live is Why Do ASD Kids Stim? Right? We're going to deep dive into stimming and self-regulation. I want to remind you, please do tag another mom, invite another parent, caregiver into this group. Dads are welcome, grandparents are welcomed, anybody, educators, advocates are welcomed to join in on these lives. Everybody is welcome who supports the special needs community. So let's do a deep dive into stimming and self regulation. I'll give you a little bit of context about the work that I do. Um, I, as an administrator, make recommendations and create IEPs. I review the initial evals for children with developmental delays and disabilities. And oftentimes, when I ask parents, how does your child present? For kids who are on the spectrum, parents will tell me, the different, we'll say, idiosyncrasies, the quirks they're presenting with. And, in the beginning, as I'm listening, I know this is some STEM behavior. If the parents have that language, they'll tell me, my child stims by doing this or that. And so some parents in some communities don't want to see stimming at all. They don't want any of the stimming behaviors to present themselves. And essentially, that's what ABA therapy may do, right? Seek to eradicate stimming behaviors, self-stimulatory behaviors, or mold and shape them into something different, right? And so there is a reason for it. I had to tell this to a mom. We can't always see the reason for a self-stimulating behavior, but there is a reason, okay? And so we're gonna go over 10 reasons why kids on the autism spectrum disorder spectrum, kids with ASD, self stimulate. Please, if you have questions, put them in the chat. And as I go through this, I will answer them. Okay, so number one, self regulation and emotional control. This month, I have created the science behind emotional meltdowns. Take a look at that. Get your copy, download your copy to know more about why children are triggered and have emotional crisis. So, one reason for self stim is self regulation and emotional control. The self stimulatory behavior helps manage overwhelming emotions. For example, excitement, frustration, and anxiety, right? They provide a coping mechanism to reduce stress and overstimulation. Imagine a child who's nonverbal or who has very little language, um, or the inability to even identify their feelings, right? The stimming behavior helps to manage that feeling, those big emotions, okay? And so stimming as a response to self-regulation and emotional control is top of what I see. It is most often the reason why I recognize the stimming behaviors. Number two, why do kids with ASD stim? Sensory processing differences. Sensory processing differences. Some children seek extra sensory input. For example, hand flapping and spinning, right? I've also seen children on the spectrum who need extra input. They're the ones who like deep pressure hugs, right? I've seen some kids on the spectrum who crash and boom, right, into the wall, into furniture, maybe even into the stairs. That's one that I'm thinking of now. I heard a teacher tell me. So they need extra input. They stomp, maybe when they walk around, they stomp. They need that extra sensory input. And for example, flapping and spinning are so active. They're big, right? That it's very satisfying. Those big motor movements satisfy the sensory system. On the reverse side, other children use stimming to block out excessive sensory input. For example, covering the ears and rocking. Okay? So, in my first example, some children seek extra sensory input because it helps to arouse them. It helps them. And then some other children, it's just too much, and so they want to block it out. They want to eliminate the extra input that's happening because it's excessive for them and it's overstimulating, and it gets them too excited and over aroused, and it gets their emotions increased to a level that is intolerable. Okay? Number three, reason why children with ASD self-stimulate as an expression of joy or excitement. Stimming can be a natural response to happiness. Okay? Stimming can be a natural response to happiness. For example, jumping up and down. Jumping up and down, something that a lot of us do. And I want to preference this by saying many of us adults who are not on the spectrum have self-stim behaviors. I know that when it's time for me to speak, when it's coming up, I'm gearing up to engage with people on a large scale, I start to twirl my ring. I start to twirl my rings, right? It's a self-stimulating, it's self-stimulatory behavior, but it's small, it's discreet, and it's not bothering anybody. All right? So something like jumping up and down as a response to happiness is an expression of joy and excitement, and it is a reason why a child on the spectrum would self-stim. Okay, another one. It may be a way of celebrating a favorite activity or event. Okay, so remember, in the absence in the absence of language, and even bigger, in the absence of communication, you may see these big motor movements like jumping up and down as an expression. Okay, and number three is as an expression of joy. Number four, why do kids with ASD self-stim? Why do kids with ASD self-stim? Number four, communication substitute. This is what I've been saying all along. Nonverbal children may stim to express their feelings instead of using words. If they just don't have the language, or they have some but don't know how to construct sentences and communicate effectively, right? Efficiently and effectively, stimming could be the next best way to show you how I'm feeling, to express my emotions. It can indicate excitement, frustration, and a need for attention. We see STEM around all of that. You just have to be able to identify the triggers. You have to be able to identify the triggers. If anybody on here has purchased the digital download drop for March, the science behind emotional meltdowns and 10 tips to reduce them, you would know that knowing your triggers is the number one tip on how to reduce them. Okay, so as a communication substitute, kids with ASD will STEM. Number five. The 10 reasons why kids with ASD STEM. Coping with anxiety or uncertainty. Coping with anxiety or uncertainty. You would be surprised how the smallest change in a routine really can affect a child on the spectrum. You would be surprised how difficult transitions can be for a child on the spectrum. And so, as a mechanism to cope with the shift, STEM acts as a self-soothing behavior in stressful situations. I'll say that again. For a child on the spectrum who is coping with anxiety or uncertainty, for example, transitions in the household, or transitions from the household to the car, or transitions in the classroom from one activity to the next. A child on the spectrum who's coping with anxiety or uncertainty, for them, STEM acts as a self-soothing behavior in stressful moments. That's what fidget spinners are for. That's what a lot of these handheld toys are about, because they help to soothe through the transition and through the shifts. It helps maintain control when facing unfamiliar environments. So I coach parents a lot and tell them to help make the situation predictable, to read a book about it, or to look at a YouTube about where they're going, what's the expectation, to role play, okay, to get prepared together, pack the backpack or whatever it's going to be, because when facing an unfamiliar environment, it can be very anxiety inducing for a child on the spectrum. And I'm not even just talking about little kids. I'm talking about up to adolescence and beyond. Okay? Encountering an unfamiliar and new environment or people or person can be difficult. And so the STEM helps maintain control when facing unfamiliar environments. Number six. You guys, I didn't make any mention of my earrings. Usually when I come on, I talk about my earrings, and last time I did a live, I had these hearts on, and it was Valentine's Day. It was Valentine's month. This time I have my hoops, because I'm from the Bronx and I like hoops. I'm gonna start to be like Miss Frizzle. If you're my age or older, you remember Miss Frizzle from the Magic School Bus, who had funky earrings every time she went on a trip with the kids. Okay, I digress. Let's get back. So number six, the number six reason why children with ASD self-STEM: to enhance focus and concentration. Did you hear that, teachers? Number six reason why children with autism spectrum, on the autism spectrum disorder spectrum self-STEM, why kids with ASD self-STEM: to enhance focus and concentration. It seems counterintuitive because they're doing something that's very distracting, but it's helping them to focus. Sometimes for most kids. I need to say this also. All of these reasons are not applicable to every child, okay? Some kids STEM for other reasons I haven't mentioned. Not every child STEMs for every reason that I'm mentioning. But I can think in my experience as a clinician, as a therapist, I can think of some kids who self stim to focus. Yep, I do. I know children who rock and hum. I have seen children rock and hum and tap that leg, bounce it, bounce that leg and tap, um, so that they can focus and concentrate more. It helps to enhance and draw in their concentration. Yeah. Repetitive movements can enhance concentration on tasks. So it seems like tapping the pencil or the heel of the foot would be distracting, but in some instances, for a child on the spectrum, it can really help. That repetitive movement can help them to focus even more. Okay? Number seven reason why children with ASD self stim. Number seven is seeking predictability and routine. I'll say it again, seeking predictability and routine. Um, and what that means is stimming provides comfort by creating a predictable pattern. You guys, I've seen children self stim in some very interesting ways. Um, but I have to say, in some of the ways that I've seen them self stim, it looks like that is my sweet spot. In whatever the stim behavior is, it's a sweet spot. It is really pleasurable, and it creates comfort. And they know that whatever the environment is, whatever that the days, whatever they're going to encounter that day, and whatever things look like, they can go back into that sweet spot, and it is comfortable and predictable, and it is mine. Did you ever think of that? Stimming provides comfort by creating a predictable pattern. Okay? It helps maintain a sense of order in a world that may feel chaotic, because the stim, whatever the behavior is, it is individual to that child. It is that child's pattern. It is that their behavior, and it feels good for them. It is pleasurable, it is comfortable, and it is mine, and I can pull on it and access it at any time. So, so that's where the control comes in. This is my habit. This is what I do, and it's mine, and nobody else can have it. So there's some surety that by possessing this, they feel good. Okay, we are getting there. Number eight. The number eight reason in the reasons why kids with ASD self stim: physical sensory enjoyment. Some children enjoy the way certain stim behavior feels. Rubbing textures, flapping hands. They like that. They like that. Um, I know a child who really gets a kick out of Play-Doh, slime, everything that's gooey and ooey. My kids love that. They love slime. They love it, and it feels good. It's the sensory feedback on the hands when they get that. They love it. So there is quite a bit of satisfaction and pleasure in some STEM behaviors. It can be a way to explore how their bodies interact with the environment, right? So because my kids like slime, anything that looks gooey, they want to put their hands in it. I bought putty from, I think I got it from the gas station. It's one of those putties that you put in the air vent, and you put it in the cup holder, and it catches all the crumbs and all the dust and debris that the vacuum cleaner just can't get. And it looks gooey, but it's actually pretty firm. But it looks gooey. So they just want to feel it. They just wanted to dig their fingers in the putty, right? And so there's some exploratory discovery factor there that children really like to know. Well, I like how that looks. How would I like it if it rubbed up against my skin, right? Um, Other kids really like ASMR. They like, they like the tapping and the way things sound as it's acting out. So physical sensory enjoyment is a reason for self-stim for kids on the spectrum. Number nine of the 10 reasons why kids with ASD self-stim: reaction to social or environmental stimuli. And I think this is the most obvious, I have to say. I think it's the most obvious. The parents that come to me and they have concerns, they report this often, that my child doesn't like it when there's a lot of music. They cover their ears when we go outside. Um, the lights are too bright, and that's a trigger. So I think this is probably the most obvious one. But overwhelming social settings may trigger stimming as a way to retreat. Okay, so if I flap and spin, I can get out of here. ah, Loud noises, bright light, or large crowds can increase the need to stim, because it becomes overwhelming. And it could be an escape mechanism in some instances, depending on the adult's response. Okay. The number 10 reason, can you say number 10 with me? The number 10 reason why kids with ASD self-stim is neurological and developmental factors. The brain of a child with ASD may process sensory input differently, leading to repetitive behaviors. And I think that if you've been around a child on the spectrum long enough, you may see those repetitive behaviors. Stimming often is linked to neurodevelopmental pathways that differ from neurotypical individuals. So, like I mentioned, many of us have self-stim behaviors. Many adults, children, they could pick one off this list. I certainly could pick one off this list for a reason why I self-stimulate, right? Like I told you about my brain. But overall, we have to recognize that the neurological system, right? The central nervous system, which by definition is the brain and spinal cord of a neurotypical child, is different from a child who's on the spectrum. And so that means that the child who walks out into the world who's on the spectrum is going to perceive, right, the world differently through their five senses: feel, look, taste, sound, smell. They're going to perceive the world differently than the child who is typically developing, neurotypical, is going to perceive the world through their five senses: feel, look, taste, sound, and smell. Okay, so those are the 10 reasons why children on or with rather ASD self-stim. Now, what are you going to do about it? That's the next question. What are you going to do about it? What is your call to action? The first one is encourage acceptance. Encourage acceptance. Explain that stimming is natural and not always something that needs to be stopped. I love ABA therapists. We need ABA therapists. ABA therapists are important. Oftentimes they get onto my meetings and they have very valuable insight to share. However, every single self-stimulatory behavior does not need to be reshaped, or eliminated by the ABA therapist. Okay? Some of the things on here are not dangerous, they're not harmful, they're not injurious, and your child can jump up and down if they get excited. Okay, you might want to go through some social stories and talk about when it's okay to respond, right? And that's some of the work speech pathologists do during sessions, is to work through social stories, talk about how to respond to different um, scenarios, to role play how your response, right? To give another option with the stim behavior. And so that's fine. But some of it doesn't need to be stopped. And I tell that to parents, let them do it. Let them do it. And for all you know, they might grow out of it. They might stop doing the self-stim behavior. Okay? Your next call to action is to know when to intervene. And this goes with exactly what I just said. Discuss when stimming might be harmful, self-injurious, and strategies to direct it safely. Okay? So if we spoke about physical sensory enjoyment, children like to explore how their bodies interact with the environment, right? And I'm just rubbing my arm as an example. But when is this dangerous? If your child wants to rub up against something sharp, right, that could cut them, that's when to intervene. If they want to touch something that's hot, if they want to explore fire, right, that's something that's dangerous. We spoke about processing differences, and I told you, I there's a student on my caseload who throws herself down the stairs backwards. This is what was reported to me. And so she's looking for deep pressure. She's looking for sensory feedback. But this is self-injurious, right? It can lead to another very harmful injury. So these are instances in when to intervene. Supportive strategies. That's your next call to action. Number 3, your next and last call to action. Supportive strategies. Offer tools to help children manage stimming in different environments. Offer tools to help children manage stimming in different environments. So, if your child, likes to walk down a hall, anytime they see something of a texture, a textile, a fabric, something, and they like to run their hand against it, but you're going to a family event, you're going to a wedding, and they're not going to be able to run their hands across every tablecloth they see, you might want to give them a fidget toy to play with at the event, right? At the ceremony. You might want to give them something to hold, to squeeze, to play with, to mush, to mash, so that they can have something to do, and that they get the feedback that they crave and they want during that instance, right? I'll also say, when the expectations are high and there are a lot of limits and restrictions, so if you're going to an event and your child has to not only sit still but be quiet, that's a lot to ask for. Please do give them something else to do, because they're being repressed and oppressed in other areas. So they will need to let it out in another way. Okay, so this has been really good. I'm so happy to get on and talk about this. I hope it's been valuable. If you have questions and you're watching the replay, just throw them in the chat. I will answer. Anybody can weigh in. This is a community, guys. I want you guys to bring your questions, bring your answers, bring your victories, you bring your challenges, and bring your real life of what's happening. Also, I am doing a sensory calm giveaway. A sensory calm giveaway. On Monday, I got on live impromptu, and I gave you guys a tip. I gave you a tip last Monday, the first Monday of March. This has been the second Monday in March. I gave you a sensory tip. And then I showed you guys everything that's in the sensory calm kit. Okay? We have a weighted blanket. It's late. A weighted blanket that has sequence on top, right? And it is so fun, and it is weighted for deep pressure sensory input, and it is also glittery, hello, shiny, and fun. So it is really, it's a two-in-one bang for in terms of how you are stimulating the five senses. I'm also in the same giving away posters and charts that you can make a nice cozy corner for your child, with strategies, like a place for them to go when they need to de-escalate and self-regulate, and have visual cues on what to do. So that poster is a part, it's like a couple of different posters. That poster is part of the sensory calm kit. Also, I have a book on managing big emotions, that is appropriate for little kids and big kids. Okay, and so that's a fun way to read through the stories of other young kids and how your children have options and are the ones who decide how they want to respond. And then the last are some fidgets. They're so cute. They look like little Easter eggs. They're silicone. They have grooves on some sides. They have bumps on other sides. There are a couple of them, and they look really good. So I have seen some people drop it in the posts. Um, the instructions, you just need to let me know what is your favorite fidget toy, what's your favorite sensory calm item. You can take a picture, or you can tell me, tag somebody else, tag another mom, get somebody else to get in on it, and I will be announcing the winners. Not, I don't think next week, but the following week. I will be announcing them. If you live in the 50 states, I will mail you the sensory calm kit. And I know that it will bless you. I know it will bless your child. It'll be really fun. Some fresh new tools to use in order to calm down and self-regulate and really help in the moments of crisis. So please, please, please participate in the sensory calm giveaway. If you don't have a child, but you have a niece, nephew, close family, friends, even if you're an advocate or an educator and this is something you want to give away to one of your students or families, I think it's a great idea. So guys, it has ladies, moms, everybody watching in the group, Facebook, Instagram, not Instagram, Facebook or YouTube. It has been a pleasure. Until we meet again, please do reach out, talk to me, and be well to you and your families. Have a great, great rest of the night and a wonderful Friday and weekend. Take care. Bye bye.